Yo, I told y'all, yo, these men that keep talking this passport bro stuff, a lot of them are predatory in nature, yo. They just going overseas. I don't care who you are, what you did. And they treating it like they going to like an animal shelter and just like finding a like abandoned pup or something that they could just like clean it up and then it just obeys them. You know what I'm saying? Sit, stand, like this is crazy, y'all. It's predatory. It's crazy.
Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is Catch the Passport Bros, Frame Them as Bottom Feeders. And the video clip you just saw was a guy who was critiquing the Passport Bros. And he's part of this smear campaign that a lot of naysayers are trying to do. They're trying to paint the Passport Bros as, like sleazy molesters or pedophiles or predators and abusive and all these other little things. So directly in this video, he's addressing Passport Bros as being predators and trying to make it as if we're just going there to prey on women in particular. They're trying to paint the picture of us being almost like pedophiles, that kind of thing. And I noticed that this is not the first video that did something similar to this. And so we got to kind of be careful, because I see that, as the movement is taking steam, we have a lot of detractors and a lot of feminists and such trying to keep us from doing this. And what's so strange about this is, as I agree with a lot of the Passport Bros, is that you would think it would be mostly women coming against us with these type of attacks. It's just so strange to see so many men have such a, to be so, hurt about Passport Bros actually getting their passports and leaving and going outside the country to find wives and girlfriends. And it goes back to, of course, a lot of this comes down to money. Some of the dating coaches, they're upset that they're losing clients. And then also what I'm starting to figure out, because I'm looking at some of my comments and I'm starting to see some of the trolls and that kind of thing. And at first, when I see some of the comments, sometimes I used to get a little irritated at first. But then when I thought about it, I was like, why would this person, be saying some of these type of things? Then I thought about it. The issue is you have some men that, unfortunately, put it this way, a lot of men, specifically Passport Bros, I would say this about us. We generally have a positive outlook as far as life, as far as a vision for our lives, and we kind of follow up on our goals and say, okay, I'm going to save up this amount of money to go travel, save up this amount of money to retire in this place. So we do that and we go get it. However, as you know, there are some people that they don't really have that kind of drive, and so you have some people who are watching these videos who may be working like a Uber Eats job. They don't really have the kind of money to travel. They don't have the money to travel. They don't really see a bright future. They might feel like they're working a dead-end job. They don't know how to actually go about, building finances and investing and that kind of thing to be able to actually go and travel and possibly even move overseas. So they're kind of in defeatist mode, and they're kind of on the, if I can't have it, nobody can. So you'll see a lot of these guys trolling people's videos, saying all types of like nonsense about the Passport Bros. For example, I believe it was One Master Teacher, and shout out to him. He was doing a video, and it's a guy that came on there, and he pretty much was saying, I respect the Passport Bros, but the only thing I don't respect is the message. Y'all are saying that it's almost a guarantee that the women are going to treat you better overseas. I disagree with that. Basically saying, if that's the case, why is there so many single mothers? That shows you that the women don't necessarily treat you that much better over there. You shouldn't say them kind of things. And one would ask, why would he say that? And then it comes to find out the furthest he's ever traveled was, I think he said the Bahamas or something like that, like a USA district. I mean, not USA. What do you call it? Not, like the United States areas that we kind of protect. Are kind of like within our within our space. It's not. It is traveling, but I kind of, to me, that's kind of like when I hear people saying I visited Puerto Rico. It's kind of almost like another state. So I kind of don't, I kind of need him to travel just a little bit further before he starts making these kind of assumptions and these statements about people traveling. But either way, the whole point was me and a lot of guys on the panel kind of saw through the whole thing. This is just the fact that this guy probably doesn't have the means to travel. He probably is only making, let's say, $20,000, $30,000 a year. He doesn't really feel like he has the finances to do it. So he's hearing all these guys bragging or being happy about meeting women overseas and traveling. And of course, there's a bit of jealousy there. So of course, he has the fox and the grapes. To anybody knows the story about the fox and the grapes, how the fox couldn't reach the grapes, so he started to say, "Oh, those grapes are just sour. They might not be that good anyway." He kind of had that kind of attitude. So you have a lot of guys doing that. So I kind of went on a little small tangent. So let me get back to what I wanted to address in the video. But I had to at least say that. And originally, I wanted to name the title a little different. I wanted to put the words frame them as predators versus frame them as bottom feeders, but I didn't want YouTube to kind of it gets a little sensitive about certain words. So anyway, back to my point. So anyway, the guy is pretty much in a video saying that we're going down there to be predators, particularly emphasizing that we're like child molesters and looking for children to take advantage of. But I actually did a little bit of research, and it turns out that the top 5 countries in the whole world that has child prostitution, guess which one is one that was within the top 5? The United States of America. The United States of America. And the thing is, of those 5 states, there was only about, I believe, only maybe 2 countries that, so 2 countries that maybe Passport Bros travel to. For example, Brazil and even Thailand. But here's the thing. Brazil actually, as far as the length, the size of Brazil is actually larger than the United States. But here's the thing. Even though it's larger than the United States actually has more child prostitutes than Brazil. Even though Brazil is larger than the United States, and even though prostitution is legal in Brazil, in spite of that, the United States still had more child prostitution than Brazil. Think about that. Now on top of that, most of the other countries, like for example, you got a lot of guys going. DR was not on that list. Peru was not on that list. The Philippines was not on that list. There were a lot of countries that most of the Passport Bros are flying to that weren't even on that list. It was the next country was India, I think Sri Lanka. And here's the other thing. As far as like even, another interesting stat that came out was the United States was second in hosting child pornography sites. Was second. It came second to the Netherlands. Most of the countries that has the highest hosting of child pornography was actually a lot of the Western countries, like I said, like the Netherlands, France, the United States. And so what I'm basically pointing to is that this guy is saying that the Passport Bros are the predators, but all you got to do is really look at the United States, and you see it's so much of that pedophilia stuff going on there. It's actually like a hub, one of the hubs for the world. So what I'm saying is, before you start pointing at Passport Bros, you need to look right back at the country you come from. Now, I'm not sure, and I can't guarantee he's from the United States, but I said that I wanted to point it out just to say that what he is saying and some of these other people are saying about Passport Bros is inaccurate. It's a fallacy, and this is nothing but a smear campaign. Those 2 studies that I talked about, because one of the studies came out of The Sun, a newspaper called The Sun, And then they did a whole research and study about this. I'm going to actually list those two articles in my description so you can take a look at it. But I just wanted to point that out and address those points that what they're saying is like it's not statistically accurate, and research has been done to disprove this. Now, I want to go even a little bit deeper and address some points as well. So that's, because they could say, well, in spite of that, maybe we're contributing to it or something like that. Keep in mind that one of the rules that a lot of passport bros say when you go to any of these countries, there are three things that you need to stay away from when you visit any country. One, stay away from politics. You don't get involved in a lot of their protests, all those kind of things. You stay away from it. In many cases, in some of these countries, you don't speak out about the government. You're not from there. And in some cases, it's actually illegal to speak out against public officials and the government, that kind of thing. You want to stay completely away from that. That's number one. Number two, the country's product. For example, when you go to Colombia, you go to, Peru, you go to Brazil, you're not there looking, put it this way, it is recommended that you don't go there looking for drugs. Like you go to Cancun, you're not going there looking for drugs. A lot of times when people are getting robbed, hurt, kidnapped, and that kind of thing, it's because some of the people have gone there on vacation and are going there looking for drugs. Now, I'm not here to judge you and your morals. And I know like sometimes people go down there looking for like marijuana and some other stuff. I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you that if you do decide to go to these countries and look for that, you're putting yourself in trouble. In fact, I believe in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, I think if you go there and you smuggle drugs in, I want to say you get it's something like you almost get the death penalty for that. If they find you smuggling drugs, I believe you get the death penalty. You already know about it in the Philippines. The president there was executing drug users and looking for drug dealers. They're not playing about those drugs. So, number one, stay away from politics. Number two, stay away from the country's product. No matter if it's legal there or not, it's best to stay away from it. Don't go looking for it. And the third thing on that list, what most passport bros say to stay away from, is underage girls. There's no reason for you to do that at all. And in fact, all countries literally punish you if they find out that you're with a girl that's under the legal age. And keep in mind that in some countries, even though the legal age is lower than it is in the United States still will consider that pretty much is still going to consider that grape. You know the word I'm trying to say. This YouTube is sensitive, but they're still going to charge you when you get back in the States. So I just want to make that clear. So most passport bros, this is known through all the little literature you can find online. Most guys will tell you that stay away from girls. Whenever you get a girl, she looks kind of young, it is best to ask her what her age is. Can she show you some type of ID? She can't. Is better safe than sorry. Stay away. And again, in some of these countries, it's not beneath the cartel or someone trying to get a buck to try to extort a foreigner or something by, sending a girl over there that's very, very young. And then, later you find out that she's underage and they're trying to extort you. This can happen. So like, as I said before, in general, most passport bros know to stay away from underage women. It's kind of like a unspoken rule that most of the guys already know. Like, so I just know from talking to other passport bros and just researching online, watching videos, this is not something that passport bros engage in general. And I just brought this up to say in general that in these countries, you get punished heavily for this. They even do stings in places like Costa Rica, looking for guys or looking for any tourists or anybody within the country that's looking for little children. They actually have police stings out there looking for people. So what I'm telling you is that these countries are very, very much heavily involved in making sure that to crack down on child molestation, child people taking advantage of minors. It's not even it's a huge effort going on in these countries. So anyway, as I said, follow those three rules. You'll be much better in these countries. Now, to add to that, I want to go even deeper because I want to talk about the different ways men are meeting women in these other countries to show you how we are further. Put it this way. Passport Bros, we're not even. It's like I said, there's no reason to even be engaged. It wouldn't even make. It doesn't even make sense why any Passport Bro will be engaged in this type of behavior. For example, most men, if they go down, let's say they go down to DR, they go down to Colombia, and let's say they're looking for a wife or a girlfriend. Well, let's say they can only visit 1 week out of the year. Let's say like 2 weeks out of the year, they can only visit, infrequently. Well, they have matchmaking services there. And I bring this up to say, one other thing people try to say is, for example, in Ukraine, you have lots of, they used to call them mail order bride sites, that kind of thing, which is kind of, to me, it's kind of a smear thing, because technically you don't put something in the mail and then the wife arrives. On top of that, this is no different than the matchmaking services in the United States. There's a show called The Millionaire Matchmaker, where there's a lady, millionaires in the United States actually pay her to go out and find girls for them to date or even work towards getting married. And that's what she does. That is the same service that some of these other countries provide for men who don't really have time to go into a country for several months and find a girlfriend. They kind of do a lot of the work for them. And I say that to say that a lot of times the way they're trying to paint these services is that, the people who own these sites and stuff and these services are like pimps, or they're like predators who go out, grab a bunch of women, throw them in a cage, and then the women are there like, oh, let me out of here. I don't want to marry this foreign man. They're trying to hand me off to these foreign men, like some type of arranged marriage type of situation. It doesn't work like that. The women are free to go, and in many cases, these women are actually signing up for these services. In fact, there was videos about Russia and Ukraine where there's such like a shortage of men, that the women are actually, just like men look for pickup artists and coaches in the United States. They have a culture of that in Ukraine and Russia, which is the opposite. Women are looking for different ways to try to meet men, and one of the ways they've been kind of doing it is they actually go to these actual sites and attempt to try to actually meet men. So I say that to say that no one is rounding up these women, putting them on these sites. These women are signing up themselves. Sometimes they go out and they put up flyers and that kind of thing, but you will find several of these services, especially like I said, Ukraine, Belarus. You have some of them down in Colombia, the DR, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to address that, because I know that might be another angle they try to use as well. One of the other angles is, guys that use the apps, they're down there using the apps to pick up women and that kind of stuff. Keep in mind that in the United States, you had Craigslist, and there was a few other sites as well that some of the pimps and stuff that were using like children, they were using these sites to kind of supposedly to traffic women throughout the United States. That got closed down. I said it to say that they're acting like some of this stuff only happens in other countries. We got all of that going on right here in the United States. So if somebody wanted to engage in that, they don't have to go out of the country to engage in that. They can do that right here in the United States. So let me say that. And then lastly, my last point. Most men don't have to really go this way. There's no reason for men to prey on anybody, whether she's underage or of age. There's really be no reason for any man to, for the most part, take advantage of any woman. Like I said, you have clubs there where they have working girls. There's working girls on the streets. There's plenty of them throughout South America, and the price is really cheap. So the price is really, really cheap and also consider that most men who are traveling frequently, these are men who have money. These are men of means. So, I mean, they could freely go there, have almost, I'm not going to say any type of woman, but technically any type of woman they want, especially if they deal with working girls, that kind of thing. And there's plenty of them, plenty of escorts, plenty of working girls. And even for men who don't deal with escorts and working girls, I mean, it's very, very easy to meet women in Colombia and the DR and that kind of thing. So even for guys who are not looking for working girls, and even for guys who don't like the quote unquote mail order bride sites, It's very easy to go there, meet women, do cold approach. They're very warm. They're very approachable. Sometimes the women actually approach you. It's very easy. I technically, when I want to meet women, I generally use the apps, like as I said before, Tinder, Latin American Cupid, that kind of thing. It's very easy to use. To me, the apps work best in countries such as like the DR or the Philippines. Not so much in Brazil, but I did have a little bit of more luck in Colombia. So use the apps with a grain of salt. I'm actually going to do a video about that. But the video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to kind of end it here. But I just kind of wanted to address all the points of this detractor. And until next time, I want you to please subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.